This is the Schaefer Technologies LF10. It is a liquid filling machine for capsules. These are the items that are required to rectify the capsules. We have the feed block, the rectifier block, the rotation module, and the guide chute. The first one to install is the rectifier block. You'll have 2 shoulder bolts for that. These items here are spring loaded, so you do have to press this in and hold it into position while you're installing the bolts. Basically, this front of this block should be flush with this. Our first bolt is installed. Second bolt is installed. You do not want to over tighten these. All they have to be is just a little more than finger tight. If it is easier, you can remove the rear cover and access installing this block from the back side as well. Either way will work. The next item is the feed block. We have the 2 bolts for that. These bolts here will line up with the bolts here. Slides up. You want to take this bar, make sure it fits on each side of these brass springs. And you can look through the hole to find out which bolt holes match. I would lift up on the block, and again, you just want these a little more than hand tighten. The next item is the rotation module. It has these 2 holes here, which fit over these 2 bolts there. You have your air line here, which just attaches to this press to lock air fitting. The last item to install is the guide chute. This is a 2-piece item. They will be bolted on together. You will use these 2 mounting holes here. Again, this is finger tight. And that is all the items you need for the rectification section of the machine. Right, this is the items needed to assemble the rectifying or the filling section. You have your pump block, your transfer roller, and your pistons. First thing to do is install the transfer roller. You will actually install it from the back of the block, which will be where this cutout is. And then the pistons, you want the pivot area facing towards where your nozzles are. To assemble the pump block assembly, You'll need to make sure that this bearing fits inside this fork drive here. These gears here will match up to this T gear here. There are locating dots on the back side of this and a locating dot on one of these teeth. They have to match to get the timing correct. Once it's in location, install the mounting bolts. You may have to move this around to get everything to line up correctly. Again, just slightly snug the bolts. After that is done, you install the front cap to your transfer roller. Then you want to make sure that the large O-ring and the smaller O-ring are installed on the block. This is your product hopper. You want to make sure this fitting is facing your control box and this upper fitting is facing towards the back of the machine. There are 4 mounting holes. You want to re-examine and make sure both of these O-rings are on your pump block. There are 4 bolts. Again, you want them finger tight and then just a slight snug to tighten them up. The next thing to do is install the 2 temperature sensors. This one with the slight bend in it is to measure the temperature of the pump block. This one actually inserts inside the hopper to measure product temperature. This will fit into that groove. You'll take the cover plate and install it over the top of it. Again, just tight enough to hold it in place. The other temperature probe slips inside this fitting up to here. You'll take the nut, place it on, and then again, finger tight, and then just a little bit more. Okay, you need to install your water heating lines. A simple just press until you feel it go all the way in and seat. That is now installed. This is the upper water heating line or return line. Same principle as the first one. Just place it into the fitting, push on it until you feel it go up and hit the bottom. Definitely install the safety covers. This one covers your pump pistons. There are 2 mounting holes here. They will attach to these 2 shafts here. And the last safety cover to cover this area will be this item here. Mounting hole, mounting hole here, and a mounting hole over here. If your steering head happens to be in the down position, You need to raise it up. To do that, you will loosen up the locking bolt, flip your safety catch, and let it extend to its full up position. To install your steering arm, start by placing it into the hopper, installing it all the way up into your steering motor, and locking it down. Push the steering motor down until it's all the way down. Install the locking nut on it. Once you get it into the down position, you'll need to loosen up your steering arm. You will lower it down until it hits the sensor. You want to raise it up about 1/4 inch above that. Tighten it up, then take your chuck key and make it nice and snug. We will then take your hopper covers, install them, and your chuck guard, which just snaps over that. These are the items required to install the closing station items, or your closing station out. You'll take your peg ring. These 2 holes here will fit over these 2 mounting bars. We will then take the shaft. We will install that from the bottom. It will fit through here. This is your locking washer and the screw to hold everything on. You want to make that tight. You can easily just take this, stick it on there, give it a good snug fit. You'll then take your wing clamp, mount it on top of the 2 posts, install the 2 mounting screws, snug them up, and that station's done. The voltage requirements are 208 volts AC, 3-phase, 3 kilowatts. The compressed air requirements for the LF10 is a minimum of 80 psi at 3 CFM. First thing to do, this is your hot water heating tank. You pull the lid out. You will fill this tank with distilled water up to this line, and that gives you your proper volume. This thermometer is just another safety indication to monitor your temperature inside your water tank. This is the lever to control the vacuum force to help separate capsules. Turns on the vacuum and air to the rectifying system without starting the rectifier. This adjusts the amount of air required to close the capsules. Adjustment for the amount of air to swing the fill table in and out. will adjust the amount of air to the rotation module. Measures the amount of air to the rotation module. This is a reference for your volume of liquid inside your capsules. This is adjusted by the fill adjustment knob on the front of the panel. This will adjust in seconds per revolution how fast your capsules are rectifying and being inserted into a ring. Will adjust in seconds per revolution how fast you are supplying liquid into the capsules. It is used to adjust the product temperature. Reads the pump block temperature only. This does not control any type of heating functions. This counts the total amount of rings you have closed. The vacuum switch is a two-position on-off switch. It is used to turn on the vacuum pump. This creates the vacuum needed for separation of the capsules. The rectifier stop button will stop the motion of the rectifying system only. This will be used in the event of a capsule jam. The rectifier start button will turn on the rectifier system to fill a ring with empty capsules. The emergency stop button will stop all functions of the machine. This button resets the power to the LF10. This is one of your fill start buttons. There are two buttons to operate your fill table. Both buttons have to be pressed for the table to swing underneath the fill tank. The fill table will return back to the loading position. This stops the fill table at its current location. The fill adjustment knob will determine the amount of liquid dosed into each capsule. Will activate the water pump. This turns on the water heaters. Supplies power to the stirrer. This is your stirring motor. Make sure that the stirring power switch on the front control panel is on. You will push your power on button. You will adjust your speed. And then you'll hit your play, forward and stop. To pause it, press the button again.
Okay, go ahead.